Hello there everyone, how you doing today? Before we get started with today's video, I'd like to ask you all if you enjoyed today's video and my other content, please join my Discord server, where we keep up with my TikTok content, my Twitch content, and most importantly my YouTube content. Thank you. And now we're going into r/entitled people, where the people are very entitled. Now, do a like, subscribe, a little comment, and let's get started. Principal and teacher didn't like me. This story has mental abuse of an autistic person. Reader rage discretion advised. Will be a long read. A bit of a backstory on me. I was diagnosed around 4 or 5 with Asperger's syndrome and comorbidity, meaning my Tourette's, ADHD, old or even gastro problems are attributed to my autism, making it called comorbid, as being present with it. I'm lucky in the sense that I'm high functioning, but not lucky enough that it didn't leave me ostracized by society. Being pretty smart, not stating arrogantly, but I've a very high IQ of 160. And some teachers didn't like me, specifically math teachers, as I never showed my work, just wrote the answers. I never understood the problem, and I still don't see it as if I know how to solve it, why I show my method if the method was using my brain. So I'm changing the name of these 2 faculty members for privacy reasons, even though they don't deserve such luxuries. These are 2 separate instances, but happened back to back. I was living in a row called Gaussian for the first part, and for the second it was called Jint, and I was in the 4th grade. So the first part happened from a teacher. She was by all accounts the worst teacher I've ever had the displeasure of meeting. She was nice the first day, but then that all changed when an aide was appointed to her class. She asked why the aide was there, and the aide replied, pointing to me, because I had problems with speech at the time, and it was an English class. Her first words were, if somebody that stupid can't talk, I shouldn't be in her class. But her class was the special class, and the aide did not correct her. Now, I do want to point out the aide herself was not mean, but complicit, as she never corrected the bad behavior. From then on, Miss Female Dog, we'll actively call her, made her a point to call me stupid. Now, when I say she called me stupid, I mean if I raised my hand, she would replace my name with stupid. She would make it a point to bring me up to the front of the class and humiliate me by reading test scores and telling my answer and have people forcefully laugh. She even got students to call me stupid instead of my name. Now, at the time I was on certain meds, as they changed them on me, and they would cause me to get drowsy. She would see this and make me stand upright or remove my desk. I did go to the principal, but he didn't believe me as she spread rumors that I was a bad kid. I finally broke down to my parents. Without evidence, we couldn't do much. So for a week, I took a tape recorder to my parents and recorded everything. We took it to the principal, and the response to this matter was to remove me and not the teacher because she was going to retire in 2 years. So I had to sit in a classroom with me and a single teacher, and there were no other students for that class. Well, it got worse with the bullying as she would see me in the school, and by that point we were already moving to the next town. No justice, and at the time my parents didn't know how to handle these situations. When we moved to the new town, I was hopeful for a better school experience. But oh boy, I was wrong. The principal, we'll call Mr. Donkey, seemed like an unmotivated man. When my parents walked me in the office for an aid assistance, he scoffed. It was at that time I got a pit in my stomach. He didn't like how tall I was standing, 5'8". I was tall for my age, so my parents had me get a brain scan for tumors to be safe, but had overactive growth plates that I needed an aid. Because of this, people didn't believe my age, and he thought I got held back, and my parents weren't trying to embarrass their precious, special baby boy, in his words. The incident happened on Tuesday, and I'll never forget that day as long as I live. It was chicken sandwich day, my favorite day for lunch. I had money from allowance saved to buy extras that day. I was having a good day. I was in my music class, and when she let us out for lunch, I asked her a question while everyone hurried out of the class. I didn't understand how to read music notes, but she knew I was good at math, since I helped students once being her son. She explained the fractions and reading notes was like a math problem, and that the music was the solution. It made a click in my brain, and I will still forever be grateful to such teachers like her. When I started to come down the flight of stairs, I noticed the crowd. There was a girl laying on the ground and another teacher directing students to walk away. We went to the cafeteria and I got my extras, forgetting the stair scene, but just excited for lunch. Once I sat down, I sat beside Angel. I call her that with deepest affections, because she always stood up for me, no matter who it was. I took a bite of my chicken sandwich as I'm chewing, savoring the bite. I feel it. 2 arms of 2 police officers grabbed me under each shoulder. I was confused and started to cry because of my confusion and whispers. We got to Mr. Donkey's office. I was sat down and he laid a paddle on his desk. One officer in the office with him, the other closed the door behind him. I was not asked why I was there. I was told I was there because I had pushed a girl downstairs, and that she was in the hospital. Me, still crying, hyperventilating, trying to explain I was in the music classroom, asking about music notes when that happened. So I got my answer of why she was on the floor, but no one was listening to me, not even the officer. Then in front of me, they called my dad and told him I was going to juvenile for this, and that made me scream and have an outburst. My dad left a meeting to come to my rescue, but the officers and principal had their man in their minds. No sooner did my dad get there did the officers get a call. The girl woke up and explained who actually pushed her. Apparently she liked another boy, and a boy who liked her didn't like that and pushed her. And if I can't have you, no one can. So the officers told the principal, and the principal told the officers it was me, and I had always caused problems since I got there. My dad was pissed, and for a pastor to hurl the insults the way he did that day would make Jesus look the other way. From that day on, he would find ways to blame me for anything. Basketball team lost, my fault for slowing the team down. Rumors started to spread of them. It got so bad that I was getting excluded from school activities, and even had his nephew target me. Although he didn't need to since he liked Angel, and she was always by my side like a shadow. Mom and Dad pulled me from the school, and homeschooled me after that. Again, no justice was done, and we couldn't prove anything in court that was concrete enough. It was around this time when Mom was teaching me about computers, and I fell in love with them. I did end up going back to school when we moved again, and did have a better experience afterwards. But school should never be a place where bullying of any kind should be tolerated. Believe me, after all that happened, I tried offing myself. It was never the students I was worried about bullying me, but it was the teachers and principals. I wish I could say schools have gotten better at handling such situations, but my brother has had similar experiences, albeit not to those extremes. And on to the next story. Entitled brother thinks he's immune to the law and won't hesitate to throw my stepdad and everyone else under the bus. Firstly, I'll need to give you some context. Me, 19 female, my mom and my stepdad live in a rural area, and our house was built at my stepdad's father's land, near my stepdad's brother's house, where he lives with his wife and kids. Their parents also live here, so we're 3 families living on the same land. neighboring each other. There are multiple other ways in which this arrangement has made life a little bit more stressful to me and my mother, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, the brothers' family is significantly wealthier than us. They run a business and own multiple properties. Meanwhile, my mom is a middle school teacher. My stepdad is a farmer, and I work as a receptionist at a public institution. One day, though, the brother asked my stepdad for a favor, and that's the very core of this whole mess. To buy a car under my stepdad's name, so he won't pay more taxes because of it. And my stepdad complied because it was his brother, and he trusted him, his words. And that was 5 years ago. At the time, I was enrolling in last year of middle school, and up to that point, I had been studying there with the help of a scholarship, as it was a private school and the tuition was too expensive for us to be able to pay in full. We do have public schools here, but my mother made a point out of giving me the best education she could afford. However, when we applied for that same scholarship that year, it was denied. My stepdad hadn't told my mother about this car arrangement, and she only found out when they were gathering the documents needed for the application. And that was exactly what it was that led to it being denied. After all, as the social worker has said, how can you pay for 2 cars and not the tuition? My mother tried to explain the situation, but was told what mattered what was on the paper. She got extremely angry and didn't talk to him for weeks, even though thought about filing for divorce. Things got stable again when my stepdad decided to help paying part of the tuition from his own pocket. But my mom was still sour about it and asked him to undo his agreement. And for a while, she thought he did. We even forgot about it. Fast forward to 2022. I'm already working and in college. Everything's going well until my stepdad receives a message from a lawyer telling him he was going to lose his driver's license. We were all in shock. My stepdad isn't a bad driver, nor does he tend to drive dangerously, or use his phone while on the wheel. But these were all complaints that justified him losing his license. However, as you can probably already imagine, it wasn't my stepdad at all, and it was his brother and that gosh dang car. Apparently, the man drives like a drunkard, and every time he or his employee got fined while driving the car, it went to my stepdad's register since the thing was his name. We were also desperate because a huge part of my stepdad's income relies on him delivering the goods he plants, and he would have to pay someone to do that for him if he lost his license. And that just couldn't happen. The lawyer said he could try to file a lawsuit to reverse this, but it would cost around 2,000 BRL, or 300,906,000 USD. He decided to go through with it. However, his brother would be the one paying, since, well, this is all his fault. Surely he'll help his brother out, right? After all, they're family, and he's wealthy enough to cover the costs himself, right? Besides, he's mature enough to take responsibility for his mistakes, right? Well, the conversation went something like this. Stepdad explains the situation while brother is nonchalantly on his phone. And then stepdad asks him to pay. Brother looks at him with a scowl and goes, "What? I'm not paying anything, you dumb butt. That's just some government BS to take money off of insert slur I'm not going to say here. Go frick yourself." Needless to say, they had a very ugly argument after this, and they haven't spoken in months now. The brother's wife was especially upset and offered to pay for everything herself, but my stepdad insists that it has to be his brother. After all, she doesn't have anything to do with it. Currently, the lawsuit is still going, and so far they managed to transfer the fines to the brother and his wife's registers. Again, she has nothing to do with this, and the scumbag won't take responsibility himself. It's just a very sad and messy situation that wouldn't have escalated if this grown-ass man stopped acting like he's invincible force. The only thing left to do now is hope the lawsuit works out. And on to the next story. Yes, you have to pay. Earlier today, I posted about my coworker and his unfortunate bad experience at a Philly cheesesteak place near my home that happened on Tuesday of this week. Well, since it got attention, I figured, you know what? I'll post the first time I noticed the guy being the food and drink shorts of a McDonald's Happy Meal. Can't say IQ because I won't give it a bad name by using it with him. The backstory. My sister and I work in a store based in the Midwest and have been there for 17 years. I started working there as a utility worker. The workers that bring in the shopping carts was my job before going to the garden center. A year and a half later, when garden center closed for the winter, I believe it was 2007, I did GM until the summer of 2008. I went to be a truck unloader for the early part of the summer. Liked, and the woman in charge put me on her schedule. Yes, she'll be in future posts. So 2009 comes around, and a few coworkers of mine got fired. One for no call, no shows. Another for stealing at a gas station and got arrested. Another had to quit because he was moving to Florida. So it was me, two guys who became friends, and an older gentleman from India. Our boss mentioned that we were going to have to help on this particular day. Former coworker comes to our receiving area while we break down the trucks by department for GM and aisle if it's a grocery truck. So we start breaking it down. He caught on quickly because we wrote in chalk on the ground and what every cart and pallet is, so he knows where each thing goes. About a month goes by and everything's fine. But one day around lunchtime, he pulled out his phone and decided to order a beef sandwich from someplace. I figured, man, I should do this in the future. Order food and have it delivered to the service desk. And I wait for it to be delivered. Well, he goes to the service desk to wait. I'm up there because I was paying for what I was going to have that day. We sell hot food. Chicken, mac and cheese, boneless wings, to name a few. I see a friend I bowled with before in a bowling league and realize he's the delivery guy. You'd think my coworker would understand. He ordered it. He pays it. Wrong. Conversation. FC. We already know. F. Friend. M. Me. F. Oh, hey, you work here? M. Yeah, for a few years, and so does my sister. F. Cool. F. So I have an order here, says for insert name and for insert how much. And FC says, what? F says, are you blank blank? Yes. Okay, that's insert amount here. FC, why do I have to pay? F says, you ordered it, it's not free. FC said, but you know him. And F said, yeah, I know, but you ordered it. FC said, I know I ordered it, but since you two are friends and I work with him, can I get a break? What? And F replied, no. And I said, dude, pay him because you ordered it. And if you don't, he'll leave and probably not accept orders from you if you place an order and then give a name, number, and place of delivery. FC said, but you know him. Can't you talk him into giving it to me? I say, it's not free. You have to pay. If you won't pay, then I'll just leave and tell my boss about it. See, just pay him. If you didn't want to pay, you should never have ordered it. It's not free. And FC says, WTF, here. He slammed $15 down on the table that barely covered what he got. He stormed away. And F said, is he like this all the time? And I said, I never saw him act this way. I'll see what his problem is. At the time, I had no idea what was going to be told. We finish our half-hour lunch and return to our grocery load that's waiting for us. Our boss is back there, and it's just me, older coworker who looks confused but knows something happened, and my disgruntled coworker. Our boss tells the other two workers to leave, and she will help do the grocery load with us. Okay, sure. We start breaking it down. I figured, okay, I'll ask what on earth caused this outburst. So, what happened? Why didn't you want to pay? FC, you know the buddy system? The buddy system? And boss is looking very suspiciously. Yeah, because you know the guy, you should be getting discounts and free food. I figured since you know him and I'm your coworker, I shouldn't have to pay. And I responded, dude, you have to pay. Doesn't matter if I know the person or not. I pay every time. I don't cheat anyone. FC said, but you know him. And I said, but you ordered it, so it's your responsibility to pay for it. And boss said, yeah, I heard about this. The cashiers told me. FC said, you don't understand, though. And I said, I was there, I witnessed it. And FC said, mumbles something. You would think it ends here, but no. I find out from my friend who delivered the food to the coworker, he wanted a refund because I knew the delivery guy, and his food should be free. His buddy system and discounts. The whole ordeal had me realizing there's something definitely wrong in the world. Which comes to light on the 4th of July. We had a surprise truck, and oh boy, he gets a nice trip of reality that I'll post tonight or tomorrow. Stay tuned for that, and no way that just happened post. And that's the end of today's video. I'll cover the next story that guy was talking about in the next video. So keep an eye out, hit the notification bell, do a like, do a subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts. I will see you next time. Here's the outro.
Hey, can I borrow your attention for a little second? You see, I'm saving up for some equipment items, like a VR headset so I can record in VR chat, or a new AT2020 mic. You can help me fund these by going to my throne in the description below. I'll leave it on the top to help you find it. If you enjoy my video, please check it out. Now, that's the end of today's video. I'll see you later.